The Billionaire's Vengeful Wife. Chapter 1. The Devil's Bargain. Story by Dognath. Ellie stands at her father's grave, clutching a single rose. The wind howls as rain begins to fall. Ellie, voice trembling, emotional. I miss you, Dad. Every single day. They took everything from us. From me. But I won't let them win. I promise you. I'll make them pay. No matter what it takes. Her phone rings, startling her. She hesitates, then answers. Jamie on the phone. Urgent. Ellie, where are you? He's here. Jon Sinclair. He's at the house. You need to come now. Ellie, coldly. What does he want? Jamie, frustrated. He's offering a deal. But it's not a request, Ellie. It's a threat. If you don't come, we lose everything. The house, the company, Dad's legacy, it's all gone. Ellie angrily. I'm not marrying him, Jamie. Not for you, not for anyone. There has to be another way. Jamie, pleading. There isn't. Please, Ellie, just come home. We'll figure this out together. Ellie looks at her father's grave. Tears mixing with the rain. Her voice is barely a whisper. Ellie, I'll be there. Ellie enters the mansion, dripping wet. Jamie meets her at the door. His face tense. Jamie, grabbing her arm. Ellie, listen to me. Whatever he says, don't let him see you break. You're stronger than this. Ellie, pulling away, furious. I don't need a pep talk, Jamie. I need a way out. There's no way I'm marrying that monster. Jamie, grimly. You don't have a choice. If you don't do this, we lose everything. Everything Dad built. Everything we are, it's all gone. Do you understand? Ellie glares at him, her voice low and dangerous. I understand that you're asking me to sell my soul to the devil. Jamie looks away, guilt flashing across his face. Jamie, I'm asking you to save us. They enter the grand living room. Jon Sinclair stands by the fireplace, his back to them. The room is silent except for the crackling of the fire. Jon, without turning around, calm but commanding. Eleanor Carter. I was beginning to think you wouldn't show. Ellie, coldly. Cut the pleasantries, Sinclair. What do you want? Jon finally turns, his icy blue eyes locking onto hers. He's impeccably dressed, his expression unreadable. Jon, straight to the point. I admire that. Very well. I'm here to offer you a deal. Ellie, crossing her arms defiant. I'm not interested in your deals. Jon, smirking. You will be. Marry me, and I'll clear your family's debts. Refuse, and you'll lose everything. Your home, your father's company, even your brother's future. It's all mine to take. Ellie steps forward, her eyes blazing. Ellie, you think you can just walk in here and dictate my life? You destroyed my family. You ruined us. And now you want to play the hero. Jon, calmly. I'm not playing anything, Eleanor. This is business. And in business, you either adapt or die. Right now, you're dying. Jamie steps in, his voice tense. Jamie. Ellie, don't. Ellie, cutting him off. Furious. Stay out of this, Jamie. She turns back to Jon, her voice low and dangerous. Ellie, I'll never marry you. Not after what you've done. Jon, stepping closer, his voice a whisper. Then you'll watch as I take everything from you. Your home, your brother's future, even your pride. Is that what you want? Ellie's fists clench, but she doesn't back down. Ellie, you're a monster. Jon, leaning in, his voice cold. And you're out of options. The room falls silent. Jamie looks at Ellie, his eyes pleading. Jamie, Ellie, please, think about this. Ellie looks at Jamie, then back at Jon. her voice is barely audible, filled with rage and despair. Ellie, no. I won't do it. I won't marry you, Jon. Not now, not ever. Jon's smirk fades, replaced by a flicker of something darker. He straightens, his voice cold and final. Jon, then you've made your choice. Don't come crying to me when you're left with nothing. He turns and walks out, leaving Ellie and Jamie in stunned silence. After Jon leaves, Ellie collapses into a chair, her face pale. Jamie kneels in front of her, his voice desperate. Jamie, Ellie, you have to listen to me. If you don't marry him, we lose everything. Everything Dad built, everything he worked for, it's all gone. Ellie, tears streaming down her face. I can't, Jamie. I can't marry him. He's the reason Dad's gone. He's the reason we're in this mess. Jamie, gently but firmly. I know it's hard, but this isn't just about you. It's about our family. About Dad's legacy. If you don't do this, we lose everything. The house, the company, even the Carter name, it'll all be gone. Ellie, shaking her head. There has to be another way. We can fight him. We can. Suddenly the door bursts open, and a group of men in suits enters the room. They're carrying legal documents and look official. One of them steps forward, addressing Ellie and Jamie. Man in suit. Eleanor Carter? James Carter? I'm here on behalf of Sinclair Enterprises. As of this moment, all assets belonging to the Carter family, including this property, have been seized to settle outstanding debts. You have 24 hours to vacate the premises. Ellie stands up, her face pale with shock. Ellie, voice trembling. What? You can't do this. This is our home. Man in suit, coldly. I'm afraid we can. The paperwork is in order. If you have any questions, you can take it up with Mr. Sinclair. The men leave, leaving Ellie and Jamie in stunned silence. Jamie turns to Ellie, his face desperate. Jamie, Ellie, this is it. If you don't marry him, we lose everything. The house, the company, even Dad's legacy, it's all gone. Do you understand? Ellie, tears streaming down her face. I can't do it. Jamie, pleading. You have to. For Dad. For me. For everything he believed in. Do you think Dad would want this? Do you think he'd want to see everything he worked for crumble to dust? Ellie looks at Jamie, her voice trembling. Ellie, Dad wouldn't want me to marry him. He wouldn't want me to sell my soul to the devil. Jamie, gently. Dad would want you to survive. He'd want us to survive. This isn't about giving up, Ellie. It's about fighting back. If you marry Jon, we still have a chance. We can still save the company. We can still save Dad's legacy. Ellie, tears streaming down her face. I can't do it. Jamie, pleading. You have to. For Dad. For me. Please, Ellie. Ellie closes her eyes, tears streaming down her face. Finally, she nods, her voice barely a whisper. Ellie. Fine. I'll do it. Ellie arrives at Jon's house, her face pale and determined. She knocks on the door and Jon opens it, his expression cold but curious. Jon, raising an eyebrow. Eleanor, to what do I owe the pleasure? Ellie, voice trembling, but firm. I need to talk to you. Jon steps aside, allowing her to enter. She walks into the luxurious living room, her hands trembling slightly. Jon closes the door and leans against it, watching her carefully. Jon, calmly. What do you want? Ellie, taking a deep breath, her voice steady but laced with desperation. I'll marry you, but I need something from you in return. Jon, smirking faintly. You're in no position to make demands, Eleanor. But I'm curious. What could you possibly want from me? Ellie, stepping closer, her voice low and urgent. Jamie, you leave him out of this. You don't touch him. You don't hurt him. And you don't involve him in whatever game you're playing. That's my condition. Jon studies her for a moment, his expression unreadable. He walks past her, pouring himself a drink at the bar. He doesn't offer her one. Jon, calmly. And why should I agree to that? Ellie, her voice breaking slightly. Because if you don't, I'll make this marriage a living hell for you. I'll fight you every step of the way. But if you leave Jamie alone, I'll play along. I'll be the wife you want me to be. Jon turns to face her, his eyes narrowing as he considers her words. He takes a slow sip of his drink, his gaze never leaving hers. Jon, you'll play along? How generous of you. Ellie, her voice steady now, though her hands still tremble. This isn't generosity, Jon. It's a deal. You get what you want, and I get to protect the only family I have left. Jon sets his glass down and steps closer to her, his voice low and measured. Jon, and what makes you think I won't just take what I want without your cooperation? Ellie, meeting his gaze, her voice firm. Because you don't just want a marriage, Jon. You want control. And you can't control me if I'm fighting you every step of the way. But if you agree to my terms, I'll give you what you want. Jon studies her for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Finally, he nods, his voice calm but laced with warning. Jon, fine, I'll leave Jamie alone. But remember, Eleanor, this is a business arrangement. Nothing more. You hold up your end of the deal, and I'll hold up mine. Ellie nods, her face pale but determined. She turns to leave, but Jon's voice stops her. Jon, coldly. One more thing. Ellie turns back to face him, her heart pounding. Jon, if you ever try to cross me, if you ever break your word, I won't just come after you. I'll destroy everything and everyone you care about. Do you understand? Ellie swallows hard, her voice barely a whisper. Ellie, I understand. Jon nods, his expression cold and unyielding. Jon, good. Welcome to the family, Mrs. Sinclair. Ellie leaves Jon's house, her face pale and determined. As she walks down the street, she pulls out her phone and dials a number. Ellie, voice trembling. Jamie? It's done. I'm marrying him. Ellie's hands tremble as she closes her eyes, her voice a whisper. Ellie, this isn't over, Jon. Not by a long shot. Meanwhile, back at Jon's penthouse, Jon stands by the floor-to-ceiling windows, staring out at the city skyline. His expression is unreadable, but there's a hint of satisfaction in his eyes. His phone buzzes, and he answers without looking at it. Jon, calmly. Yes? Voice on the phone, cold and authoritative. Did she agree? Jon, smirking faintly. She did. Just as we planned. Voice on the phone. Good. Keep her close. We need her to play her part. Jon, his voice turning cold. Don't worry. I'll handle Eleanor. She do exactly what we need her to do. He hangs up and turns away from the window, his expression hardening. He walks over to a desk and opens a drawer, pulling out a file labeled Carter Family. He flips through it, his eyes narrowing as he studies the contents. Jon to himself quietly. Welcome to the game, Eleanor. Let's see how long you last.